Hi everyone, and welcome to the monthly illumination reading for the sign of Virgo for August 2023. This is I Am Illuminated tarot reading for Soul Illumination. Hi everyone and welcome. My name is Lauren. Now this reading is meant to take a look at the energy for the month ahead for the sign of Virgo. Now, Virgo, we're going to jump right into your reading here. As I was getting into your energy, I did hear to be or not to be. That is the question. So for some of you, this may be a month where you are looking at something in your life where you've either been on the fence about making a change, or it could be something where you're just literally wondering, is something going to happen or is it not? And is it time to either commit or walk away? So we'll see if that plays out in the cards. Sometimes I do get extra messages like that when I'm kind of getting into the energy of a sign. Sometimes the reading comes out completely different, but we'll see. So for some of you, or for one of you, that may have some type of meaning for you. All right, so we're going to jump right in here, and I'm going to pull some cards to take a look first at what you're bringing to the month, Virgo. We're going to look at then what's going on externally to you and what Spirit would like you to really focus on this month and embrace by the end of the month to really allow you to move past a block that is going to allow some type of abundance or spiritual growth to come in for you. So we'll really take a look at what that is. So let's see what the month holds for you, Virgo. Let's first see what you're coming in with. What does Virgo need to know about themselves here? What are you walking into August with? Now we do have, as I've been talking, I love it, Wheel of Fortune. So I have been speaking a lot in my other readings. We are in a very interesting period here with Venus retrograde in Leo, currently for the entire month of August, moving through September 3rd, but then we'll have a shadow period after that where we're kind of reviewing what we learned about ourselves during Venus retrograde in Leo. And this is really asking us to review our values, our values from a heart-based perspective. So keep that in mind as you're moving through this month. Okay, beautiful energy. Oh my goodness, Virgo. So we have the Wheel of Fortune. This is what you're coming in with. There's a sense of opportunity. There's a sense of timing. With the Wheel of Fortune, I also get the sense when it comes in an internal energy like this, there's a sense of kind of going with the flow, almost like if you imagine yourself kind of being this like vortex, the wheel is turning, you can't help but move with it. So there's something here that's going on internally that might lead to an opportunity, or that's leading you in a direction that you can't almost step away from. It's hard to avoid. Now in your external environment, and really what Spirit's asking you to embrace is the Empress. What beautiful energy. This is the energy of Venus, actually. This card is ruled by the sign of Venus. It rules, ruled by the planet Venus, and it rules the signs of Libra and Taurus. So there's a sense here of really getting into that Venusian energy of beauty, of what you value, of holding space for what you would like to bring into your experience. And there's a real sense of creativity and giving birth to something as well. So for some of you, there's a sense of really embracing that feminine aspect to your experience. For some of you, this might be that you're embracing becoming a parent. It could also be that you're embracing some creative project or some part of yourself that is associated with that, and you're almost kind of getting pulled into it. There's almost like the sense of your creativity kind of getting pulled from within and being pulled to an external place. So we'll dive a little deeper into what that might look like. Now we have the Five of Wands as your underlying energy. That might mean for some of you that this month might feel a little chaotic. It might feel like there's maybe a little too many cooks in the kitchen. This can be a card where there's a level of competition that comes with it, or combativeness, but there's also a sense sometimes of just too many people's input. And that could just be that this is just going to be a very busy month for you, Virgo. Now, underneath that, we have the Six of Pentacles and we have the Four of Pentacles. So this shows that for many of you, there's been, you were kind of in a holding pattern for a while with the Four of Pentacles. This is where we get to that point of stability in the physical experience, but we're afraid we're almost blocking ourselves from growth past that point because we're holding on to what we have. This would be like where we get to that kind of safe, secure place, but we're not willing to invest a little bit of that money. It'd be like, okay, I wanted to save to buy a home. I have the down payment, but now I'm too afraid to actually invest that down payment in the house. I'm just going to sit here with that amount of money in the bank and sit there because it took me so long to get to this point and I don't want to make a bad investment. And yet along the line somewhere here with the Six of Pentacles, it says that you did make that investment. You pushed through your own fears around maybe rocking that stability for yourself, and it has brought in a certain level of return. The Six of Pentacles really speaks to the understanding of the give and take, kind of the universal law of balance in our experience, which says at any given point we will be on the receiving end of the scales, and at another point will be on the giving end. So it also speaks to whatever we put in, we will get a return on that investment, even if it's not in our immediate awareness. So this could be like where you put time and energy into something that maybe doesn't give you that immediate return, but a little ways down the line, suddenly you get inheritance that makes up for that, or you get a job that pays you double what you were getting paid previously, and suddenly in a short period of time you make up for all that additional money you had lost previously, or time or energy or investment. So there's a sense here of getting to this place of kind of equality or equilibrium in your physical environment, that there has been, again, you face that fear of kind of rocking your own stability to invest a little in something in your experience, and it has brought a return on your investment. But that might be now where there's something here that maybe there is a little bit now, because there is a balancing out, there has been a little bit of a return, that all of a sudden now maybe everybody has a say in where this return is going to go. This would almost be like maybe getting that inheritance or getting that raise, or having something balance out in your life, and suddenly there are people in your life who are telling you what you should do with this extra time in your life, with this extra money, with this extra whatever it is in the physical. So kind of keep that in mind, that there may be it just might feel a little bit like everybody has a say, or it might feel just a little chaotic as the undertone this month. But it's all, I think, in an effort for you to really bring out an element of your own creativity that is waiting to be birthed, which is beautiful. So let's see here. What does Libra need to know? We're going to take a look now at the Challenger block. We're going to look at advice from Spirit, and then we're going to look at what is coming in for you by the end of this month, either a level of abundance or spiritual growth. And I think really the spiritual growth for you, Virgo, is this feeling of an opportunity now to really embrace either your true kind of feminine creative side, or becoming a parent even, or it could be literally to embrace releasing. I do feel it is like releasing your creative potential on the world. It could just be in your life experience, but there's something that feels bigger about that, especially with the Ten of Cups and the High Priestess coming through. Wow. So the Ten of Cups is your main point of challenge or block this month, which really speaks to, I think, for many of you, especially with the High Priestess coming in right after this. This is that deep intuitive knowing. For many of you, there is a glimmer with the Ten of Cups. This really speaks to kind of touching a little bit of your vision of heaven on earth, but through the emotional plane. So what it would feel like to just feel ultimately fulfilled. And there's a sense here of, you know deeply what that is. You know what that little vision of heaven is. You know what your emotional core is yearning for. And yet I think for many of you, there's a sense here of maybe either trying to avoid that, because we can be at a place in our life where we feel that call, we feel that pull, and either we A, don't see how to get there, or B, we want to ignore it because it means there's going to have to be a change, especially with the Wheel of Fortune coming in here. Now with the Seven of Pentacles, this is at the heart of your reading. This is what Spirit's asking you to really focus on and embrace this month. And it's going to help you really break through to, I think, admitting to yourself what this Ten of Cups entails and the change that is going to need to be made on your behalf to bring this in for yourself. Because the Seven of Pentacles speaks to a point of review of your physical experience. It's looking exactly at what is currently. And you asking yourself the question, is it worth it for me based on what I am seeing in my current experience? Is it worth it for me to continue to invest my time, energy, and money in the way that I have been doing that? Basically asking yourself, do I want to continue to grow more of this? Or am I looking at the fruits of my labor and saying, this job just doesn't cut it for me anymore. Or, this home just doesn't cut it for me anymore. Or this relationship that I'm investing time and energy and money into doesn't work for me anymore. There's something here around that. Because you can see this individual here. In this specific depiction in this deck, it looks like he's looking at what he has, his Seven Pentacles, and it's like, this isn't what I wanted. This isn't what I was expecting. It's almost like he went to look at his crop and the crop never grew. The seeds never took hold or took root. And so there's a sense here of really looking at where in your life you might feel that way. Or in the review of your life experience, you might actually feel the opposite. You might look at where you are now, maybe this return on your investment that's come in, and you say, with all things being equal at this point, how do I continue to invest my time and energy to where I start to bring in this Ten of Cups? And this might be something that you were not focused on previously. You might have just had your head down and you were working, or you had your head down and you were raising your family, or whatever it is. And there's a sense here now where it's like, wait a second, I have an opportunity. I have this kind of breather type moment to kind of pull my head up and say, wait a second. What is that dream that is kind of on that, again, that intuitive pull coming through here? There's a sense here of almost like blocking yourself off from your intuition because you're not wanting to admit to yourself what this Ten of Cups is, and to admit to yourself that only you can bring that in for yourself. Now, on the other side of the Seven of Pentacles, there's the Five of Cups. Ooh, we've got lots of cards on the table here, but only one came up face up, so we'll take that. Now, Five of Cups is the disappointment. It's something that didn't work out in the past. And it can speak to anything. This can be a career path that didn't work out. This can be a relationship that didn't work out. Sometimes I see it as a support group, a friend group, a community that didn't work out, and you kind of felt left out. But with the Three of Wands coming in at the very last card here, this is what's waiting for you to face. And it's waiting for you to, this is the doorway, the gateway to what wants to come in for you this month. And there's opportunity. The Three of Wands speaks to your ships are coming in. It says you've made a decision to go in a specific direction. And now, based off of that decision you've made previously, now things are starting to come in for you. But it's very hard for us to recognize those opportunities as they start to come in if we are too focused on where something didn't work out in the past. This would be like if we think about the metaphor of our ships coming in. This would be like looking back at a past time when your ship was coming into dock and it hit something and sank right outside of the harbor. And you still keep looking in that specific area for the next ship to come in, and yet it's saying that ship has passed, that ship is done, that ship sank. It's time to turn your head and look to the rest of the harbor and the rest of the docks as new ships are pulling in. So there's a sense here of really opening up yourself to that energy. And getting past. And I think for many of you with the Seven of Pentacles, there's going to be this kind of realization in your physical experience of, I see where I don't want to continue to invest my time, energy, or just physical resources in something. And maybe suddenly you're seeing, well, if I don't want to invest it here, I want to invest it here. And that's going to be kind of the key to unlocking the why behind this, behind that is the Ten of Cups. If your Ten of Cups, if your vision of heaven involves, this would be like realizing all of a sudden you really want to have children, and you never thought you wanted to have kids. And I don't know why I'm going there with this, but this could be like that, where you said, I don't want to have kids. I'm good with just a relationship where I work and I travel and I do all of that. And suddenly you're like, but in your heart of hearts, you're like, but I want children. And it's calling to me and I really want it. And suddenly as you're looking at your experience, you're like, yeah, I could invest in going on another grand vacation around the world. I could invest in a larger big screen TV. I could invest in all of the things I've already been investing in, and I could level all of them up. But at the heart of hearts, if I go into that emotional place, it's not calling to me anymore. It doesn't speak to what I want to, the Empress, create in my life at this point. And so it'll show you where do I want to change and focus on directing my time, energy, and resources? Is that now to finding a romantic partner to possibly further that dream of bringing in a home, a family, and children? Is it, do I want to go and, sign up for a fertility clinic? It's whatever, comes out of the realization that something in your life is no longer fulfilling in the way that you have been continuing to invest in it. And then you might have to face the Five of Cups to say, I was in a relationship 10 years ago and I thought maybe we were going to have kids, and then it didn't work out. And so I just pushed it aside. Or I never thought I was going to have children because I never thought I'd have the money or the career or the ability to do so. There's something here around that. Where something's coming in around why maybe you've pushed that dream away because something didn't work out. And this is saying there's another opportunity coming in that is rewarding you for you having faith of moving from the Four of Pentacles to the Six of Pentacles. Now, keep in mind, this reading could be for someone who is about to move into this. You might be looking at should I or shouldn't I, to be or not to be. Should I invest? Should I retract? How can I go from the Four of Pentacles and change me just kind of sitting here in this kind of stagnancy? For many of you, you might have already gone through this. And again, this is really speaking to, okay, you went through that, you faced that fear of change, and now things have balanced out. But for some of you, you might be actually looking to go through this entire story this month. And keep in mind, if you do face that fear of, do I invest? Do I walk away from something? Will this give a return on my investment if I change the way I invest in something? It's saying, yes, there ultimately will be. It might create a little chaos in the moment. There might be lots of people who have a say in the change that you want to make, but ultimately it's what's heralding in the opportunity of the new for you and allowing the energy that's really moving in your favor right now to pull out your own creativity, your own ability to hold space for the Ten of Cups that is there waiting to come out. Bottom of the deck is the Tower. Ooh. Okay, well, there it is. That is the crumbling. That is the crumbling of... So when we sit in the Four of Pentacles energy for too long, where we're clinging to the physical experience, where we're clinging to something that has long been a sense of given us a sense of security, if we choose not to make that investment or change something of our own accord, often the Tower comes in to do so for us. This is Spirit liberating us from the tower that the devil has ensnared us in. But under the guise of, but this is for your safety. This is for your security. You don't want to go outside because it's scary out there. You don't want to go chase your dreams because you might get hurt again. That's what the Tower speaks to. This is a very liberating moment. And I hope many of you have either already gone through this or are going to go through this and realize, oh my gosh, the only thing I've been holding myself back from is the Ten of Cups, is the ultimate happiness fulfilled in your life experience. And it's almost like there's a divine moment of just letting the walls come down and letting the opportunity come in, really embracing the opportunity that's coming in that really wants to allow you to really give birth to something in your experience or nurture something or hold space for something you really want to bring in. That could be a creative project. That could be a child. That could be a nurturing, your own, whatever it is, a hobby, a home life, you fill in the blank for yourself there. Okay, I'm going to pull some cards now to get a little deeper into the message. We're going to pull some clarifiers to see what each of these cards speak to. Sometimes another story kind of unfolds here. So let's see about the Ten of Cups. Yeah, we have the Lovers. There's something here around a relationship. For some of you, that is the part of the Ten of Cups. This deep love, this deep connection to another, and the Moon. Yeah, there's a sense here of the way being unclear, that when the Moon comes up, that really asks you, can you walk a path you feel called to take on faith? And I think for many of you, this does involve another person, someone that you deeply love. It could also be something that you deeply love. This could be that guiding kind of purpose-driven passion project, a hobby, artistic endeavor, something along those lines. But it's asking you, can you walk this path on faith? Because it does say the way is unclear. You're not being given all the answers. You're being asked to go on intuition. And for the High Priestess, we have the King of Cups and Death. Very interesting as well. So the King of Cups actually harnesses the energy of Scorpio, and Scorpio is the death and rebirth. That is actually transformative energy. But there's a sense here for many of you with the King of Cups and Death. So death speaks to the kind of the finality that death brings in our experience, that either a part of yourself has to be this can be kind of like an ego death, if that makes sense. Like a part of your identity has to be released in order for you to really move into almost giving birth to yourself anew, if that makes sense, through admitting to yourself what you love and what you want to, and committing to that in a certain way. The King of Cups, again, this could be a Scorpio in your life, that maybe this represents someone who is a highly emotionally mature individual. This could even be a father figure in your life for some of you, where you have to release that. The King of Cups can be kind of that loving father figure, and this could be either where you are finally releasing a tie to maybe a father figure who was not that for you, or maybe you were hoping, or an individual who represented that kind of personality. And there's a sense here of having to release that, of having to release some type of maybe soul contract around a father figure or someone who came across like that in your experience. And that's going to really open the door for you to, I think, usher in your own Ten of Cups, because that could be where maybe the Five of Cups has come from. It's almost like a father wounding, which is interesting that that's coming up here for some of you. It's almost like you're healing your own relationship with father or masculine energy through embracing your own feminine energy. Your own ability to create and hold space. And I know that sounds, it doesn't matter whether you're male or female or however you choose to identify, masculine energy and feminine energy, we all have that within ourselves. And there's a sense here of having to, at different points in our life, having to bring a part of ourselves into balance, bringing one of those energies into balance. And I think for many of you, there's been a sense here of a disappointment around, again, either you fulfilling that role, you fulfilling being a parent, you fulfilling being, more of that kind of loving father archetype. It could be that there was a wounding around a father figure in your life, or wounding around someone who, again, represented just more of that loving paternal energy. And there's a sense of finally putting that to rest. And then we have Wheel of Fortune. Yeah, there it is. So there's that tie of really taking a look at what you no longer want to invest in, because your heart is calling you towards something greater. So kind of like what I was saying, if let's say this is the opposite. Let's say you're like, okay, I've been focused on the home for the past 25 years, raising the kids, and it was all about the home and all about putting money into the house. And suddenly now your kids are grown and they're out of the house, and you're like, I don't really want to maintain this home anymore. I don't want to pay 10 grand for a new roof, and I don't want to, keep vacuuming the same rooms that nobody comes home to. I want to go on an adventure. My heart of hearts is calling me to the love of learning. I want to experience firsthand what it's like to see Rome and Asia, and and this could be where all of a sudden you're like, I'm not putting that 10 grand in the roof. I'm selling the house and I'm taking that money and I'm going to travel the world. There's something like that where the opportunity, the wheel, the vortex is pulling you right here. Where do you not want to spend your time, energy, and money anymore toward investing in something that is no longer bearing fruit that serves the 10 of Cups? And there's the 4 of Cups. That's another indication. The 4 of Cups speaks to a level of dissatisfaction with some aspect of your life that you're not feeling emotionally connected to anymore. Now, sometimes that could be literally, I'm starting to look at this card. It's really the meanings of certain cards can change for readers over a specific period of time. And for me, this card coming up has really been speaking to feeling kind of like being the outsider, that you're looking at everybody else kind of celebrating or having camaraderie or having network, or, it could be like looking at, maybe you moved away and you're looking at your whole family or friend group in a whole other area all celebrating, and you're like, but I'm the odd man out. I'm the one, but it also speaks to, but you're the one not bringing your cup to the party. So I think for many of you, it's kind of looking at where do you feel like you've been on the outside looking in, and where now is it time to emotionally re-engage with that area of your life by making a change. This could be like saying, I'm so dissatisfied with my house, I don't even want to go home to it anymore. And it's not because you're, let's see, how can I put it? It's not because the home is bad. It's because you've changed. And that's kind of what the death and rebirth, but also the moon. The moon says you're being called, you're being pulled by this internal force that you can't explain. And it's asking, can you walk this new path on faith? And I think for many of you, the answer is yes, of course. So let's take a look at this 5 of Cups. There's an element of freedom that's coming strongly through in all the readings I've been doing so far. So I feel like this is a month where many of us are being pushed. It might feel like a difficult month, just emotionally for many of us, but it's one that's going to lead to great freedom for many of us as well. Again, freedom through change. That's something that I live a lot with because I have a lot of 5s in my birth chart, my numerological kind of makeup. I have 5s and 14s all over the place. So I deal a lot with this energy and have my entire life. But for many people who don't maybe have a lot of that energy in their natal charts, or just in their, let's say in their birth names, if you look at breaking them down numerologically, there's a sense of some people are very afraid of change, and I'm definitely not one of those people. But I can say through my life experience that the more you continue to kind of go with the flow of life, which is a continual change, that's the only constant in our life experience, the more we do have that ability to grow, and to grow in a way that is very freeing for us. Again, we're freeing our soul bit by bit to be lived and experienced out into our outer experience, our outer world. So for the 5 of Cups, we have the 2 of Cups and the King of Wands. Beautiful energy. 2 of Cups is the energy. What's interesting about the 5 of Cups is that it's usually represented by an individual who's looking at 3 cups that have spilled, and yet there are 2 cups standing behind the individual that they are ignoring because they're too focused on what didn't work out. And this is really stating it's time to really take a look at what did work out in your life experience. There was someone there for you when you went through that difficult time. There were maybe friends. It could be one close friend. It could be a parent. It could be a friend, again, someone who was there for you. And with the King of Wands, this could be someone who is a Leo. It could also be someone who just really embraces that kind of fiery element of life. There's someone who leads from a place of what they're passionate about. And that might be the kind of guiding principle here of you. Even though you went through something that was disappointing, it ultimately led to you having an intimate connection with someone else. And that someone else was this kind of fiery individual who went for what they wanted. And it's asking you to really embrace that. For some of you as well, this could be literally saying it's time to connect with others from this place of the King of Wands, that it's time now to get back into your passionate sense. This could be the card of a business owner or a CEO, someone, again, who really steps up into leading from what they're passionate about. And that might be asking you to really come authentically. When we meet someone cup to cup, that is the Two of Cups, that is sharing yourself authentically and vulnerably with someone else. And it may be asking you to share yourself in this way. But it could also be that you met someone who is like this, who's really opened the door now for you to kind of almost re-engage with a part of your experience that maybe you thought you had lost out on. Okay, so let's see about the Three of Wands. We have the Four of Coins. Okay, so there's the Four of Coins right there with the Three of Wands. It's saying the opportunity comes when you're ready to leave the comfort zone. And for many of you, that's going to be the hardest part. But with the Six of Pentacles coming in, it's saying leaving that comfort zone is going to bring in a level of balance. It's going to bring in a level of a return on your investment that I think you might not even understand how or where it's going to come in from. And Justice, yep, there's that level of divine balance. So Justice is the major arcana version of the Six of Pentacles. So yes, it says it's finally bringing something into balance for yourself. Or maybe, again, you had lost in the past. This time, if you can lean into your Ten of Cups, if you can embrace where it's time to make a change in your physical as to where you're investing your time, energy, and money, and kind of bring yourself back to the party, maybe release something around a father figure, wounding around father figure, wounding around any type of that kind of parental or the energy of kind of the mature masculine in your life. There's a sense here of rebalancing and getting to do it again, maybe getting to be in a much more nurturing environment, getting to have that adventure in your life you didn't have early on, getting to have a fulfilling career path you didn't get a chance to follow before. But it's all around, can you follow what you love? And can you use your intuition as a guide? And you have your third underlying energy, the Eight of Swords. Yeah, for many of you, you feel trapped. And I think that's why, sometimes people who really know the tarot well can be scared of the Tower, because the Tower can mean that something kind of out of the blue happens, or that seems out of the blue for us, but yet maybe people on the outside might have seen it coming down the line, meaning you knew you had to leave that ex for some, you have to leave your partner. It's gotten out of control. You're not happy. Things have not been going well, and your heart is yearning for a fulfilling relationship somewhere else. But you stay and you stay and you stay and you stay. And you're not ready and willing to, to make that risk of having to walk away from what seems to be the Tower, what seems to be safe and secure. And then out of the blue, your partner is the one that serves you with divorce papers. And you're like, what the heck? This is, it's like, but yet everybody saw it. Everybody knew it needed to happen. It's one of those kinds of things. Or it could be where you keep investing all your time and energy and money into a career path, and yet you've been telling everybody that you hate your job, and you've been telling everybody that you would love to be able to finally make that hobby you love into a full-time, work or whatever it is. And then you don't leave the job, and suddenly maybe you have a health crisis. It's not even that the job lets you go, it's that you have a health crisis and you can no longer physically do that job. But because you didn't leave it, something has to come in to force you to finally break whatever that hold of the Tower had on you. So keep that in mind. Now, we can also forcibly bring in the tower kind of more in our own control. It's almost like having a controlled demolition, if that makes sense, where we realize what the problem is. And I think that's what Spirit's asking you to embrace this month, is to really open your eyes up to where you don't want to invest any more time and energy into something, so that you can bring the tower down yourself safely, securely. The fallout isn't going to affect anybody else outside of you telling them like, hey, today the tower is coming down, so stay back a little bit. Because the Eight of Swords speaks to not being able to see a way through. The Eight of Swords speaks to being kind of trapped in that mental programming that says, keep looking in the direction of the sunken ship that never came into port. And if you stay in this energy, then the tower will come down forcibly. If you choose instead to realize, she's blindfolded here, but she can trust her intuition. She can tap into, it's almost like getting to that place of where she does like the Kung Fu Master thing, where she can just kind of see her way around the swords, and she feels her way around. Even though she's blindfolded and tells herself she doesn't know if she's going to run into one of them, she instead says, I'm going to trust. I'm going to, move on faith, because my intuition is pulling me towards something, pulling me towards freedom out of these swords. Justice coming in here at the final card really speaks to that balance, really speaks to having possibly even a second chance. For some of you, this could be the making or the breaking of a contract. That's also what justice can speak to. So that might be what you're holding yourself back from, is do I sign on to a new job and make that commitment and sign that contract? Do I get a divorce? Do I get married? It's one of those kinds of things. So it really speaks to being able to, again, leave a comfort zone, but know that it will be one that liberates you and brings something into balance, and possibly brings a second chance for something, or brings in something that you just maybe didn't realize you wanted until now. It's the time. Wheel of Fortune twice coming in here. It's the time to bring out something that you want to create, to bring out a part of your creativity. Okay, so let's go ahead here. I'm going to pull an energy oracle card to get a better idea as to what the energy speaks to for this month. Oh, I love it. We have woman holding a heart. Number 44. It's an angelic number. It's a number that really speaks to building firm foundations. That's the energy of the 4. But with the 2 4s coming together, there's a sense here of building something that will eventually lead to the number 8, which 8 is the number of personal empowerment. It's empowered leadership. It's literally, for some of you, this is, especially with the Lovers coming in, King of Wands, there's a sense here of being committing to a relationship, being those 2 pillars, that each person is the 4, and they come together to create the 8. And this, again, might be really embracing your own feminine energy. Now, if you, let's say, are male or masculine watching this could be where this individual is coming into your experience, and it's asking you to be open to that maybe if you had gone through wounding before, it's asking you to open to anyone who's willing to kind of come towards you on this level. Keep your heart open. There's also the butterfly here, which speaks to transformation. Again, with the scorpionic energy and death coming in, there's a sense here of where something maybe didn't work out, even an aspect of yourself, that it's time now to really dive into your emotions, your emotional maturity, and the transformation is through that. But there is a sense here of possibly coming together with another individual to create a very empowered experience, if you're willing to commit, or if you're willing to take a risk, if you're willing to let the tower down, if you're willing to allow the opportunity to come in. But it could also be just where you're opening up your own heart chakra towards what you love. You're opening yourself up to building new foundations, to choosing a new path based on what your heart yearns for. Beautiful. Okay, so let's go ahead here and pull a Power of Surrender card, and then I'll pull a final card to close out your reading. What does Virgo need to know about where they can surrender this month? Okay, so we have surrender your attachment to results. It says the formula for success is to do all you can to make things happen, then let go of the results. Holding on too tightly to a desired outcome can sabotage it. And I like that because there's a certain element here of, again, with the moon coming in right off the bat, there's a sense of, can you walk this path on faith? There's also a sense that this might be a chaotic month. And so it's almost like, well, how can I control everyone and everything? And this says, we can't. The only thing we can control is ourselves. You know, there's a sense here of saying, like, if I'm going to have a controlled demolition of my tower, and I tell everybody, you know, stand back, the tower's coming down at 2:00 on Sunday, and yet there are people gathered around, it's saying you still have to hit that button. And come what may, the results may be different than what you were anticipating, but you still have to hold true to the one thing that you can control in your life, which is yourself. There's also a sense here, too, of things may come in. Again, this would be almost like you were so focused on that ship that sank coming into the dock, kind of rising up and coming back, or you're trying to figure out how to get diving gear to go down to that ship that it was never going to come to port. It was always going to sink. And it's saying, instead, just start to follow your heart. Start to commit to what you love. Start to get out of your comfort zone. And be surprised at what comes in for you. Open your head up to take a look again at what has come in. For some of us, too, I'm just going to say this, Virgo, sometimes we get so focused on what we want coming in a specific way that we don't even realize it's already come in. And I know, because I have experienced a little bit of this myself in the past, where you're like so thinking it's going to come in this way, or it's going to come in the form of this person or this job opportunity. And yet you look up and you're like, wait a second, but I have so much more. And actually it's like I was hoping this ship was going to come in over here, but yet in reality, I was looking for a schooner to come in, and it was this giant yacht that came in on the other side of the port, that they've been coming over and hanging out with me, and they keep telling me that there's all this cool stuff. They've even given me some of the scuba supplies that I asked for. And meanwhile, you're like missing out on the party that's going on the yacht over there. And it's like almost like the realization of like, my ship is the yacht. Let me just go jump into the abundance that's waiting for me over there. So keep that in mind. Keep that in mind, that there might be already something that's come into your experience that is the gift, whether it's a person, whether it's an experience, whether it's the gift of moving to a new location, a new job. But you might just need to see it from a new perspective. That there's also, again, just this month, if that hasn't happened to you yet, just keeping your eyes open for that element to come in and say, it's time to enjoy the opportunity in however it chooses to present itself, even if it's not exactly what you were expecting. I'm going to pull just a couple clarifiers for that, because I am just curious to see. Let's see here. What does Virgo need to know about surrendering your attachment to results? King of Swords. Yeah, there's a sense here of when the King of Swords comes out, there's almost this, oh, I like it, and the Chariot. There's a sense here of really getting clear as to you have attained a certain level of wisdom, a certain level of knowledge, and we can't always, the King of Swords really speaks to the individual who can give a fair assessment. He has a wide wealth of information to pull from, and he can give a very clear, very fair-minded opinion or judgment on something. But this says that, no one knows everything. And no matter how far he can see, the only thing he knows, and with the Chariot coming in, is he knows where he wants to go. The Chariot speaks to getting back in the driver's seat of your own life and going, getting those horses giddy up, going towards what now feels like home for you. And there's a sense here of, you know what that is. You know it on a very mental, kind of clear-headed, you know what that is. You know what the Chariot is. But it also says you're not going to know everything, but you have attained a certain level of discernment, of wisdom, of knowledge that you can pull from, so that even when you get in the Chariot and you might come up against something that, you get a flat tire or one of the horses goes lame, something like that, you have enough experience to say, I'll deal with that when I come to it. Maybe if I do get the flat tire, I'll realize that flat tire was the opportunity, because it forced me to stop and seek out a little town that ends up being the place where I find the love of my life. There's something around that that's strongly coming through here for you guys. And it doesn't, again, for some of you, it could be around meeting someone. It could be around moving to a new location. It could be a new job opportunity. It could just be, again, like a change in life perspective of, I don't want to invest anymore in this house. I want a life of adventure. Or the reverse. I don't want to invest in my life of adventure. I want to focus on raising a family. Okay, so let's see. The final card out for you guys is Hold Your Center, which I love. Hold your center. Yes. You know where you want to go. You know where you're feeling called. You know in your heart of hearts what that Ten of Cups is calling to you, that vortex of the Wheel of Fortune. You know where it's pulling you to. So saying hold to your center, even if things get a little chaotic, even if the tower comes down out of your control. It's saying hold to your own vision, because that's what's going to keep you on this trajectory to balancing out some aspect of your life experience and bringing in a reward and an opportunity that's really going to celebrate your own creativity and your own power to give birth to something in this experience. Now, with the number 34, it breaks down to the number 7. That is the number of spirit. That is the number also of confidence in the self, and knowing that we are unique and have our own connection to spirit, that we are each co-creating with spirit in our own way. And it's kind of that, don't compare yourself to others. So it says, hold your center. Have you been rushing out to meet others, trying to bend or accommodate their needs at the expense of your own well-being and inner peace? Now you are to strengthen your own energy, your own boundaries, to find your ground, firmly place your feet there and do not move. Feel your feet anchoring you like a beautiful tree. Let yourself experience quiet certainty as you hold your center with commitment, courage, and consciousness. You are learning to trust in your own instincts. I love that intuition coming through. To take your own journey without comparison to the life path of another. There is no need to become disheartened or distracted by comparisons or judgments. The earth needs your light, which can only come from you. You will offer so much less if you try to make it match your beauty to what you perceive to be the beauty of another. Many souls who are different and unique were not understood, acknowledged, and valued for whom they were as children. Instead, they were encouraged to conform, to change, to be other than their true self in order to be loved. This can be a hard pattern to break, yet the time is here for you to love and honor yourself as yourself. You are beautiful. You do not need to change for another. You certainly do not need to change for the divine. You are being encouraged instead to distill your essence to become even more of you. Hold your center now and do not be rattled by any other through intimidation, confrontation, doubt, jealousy, or fear. To hold your center means you accept your innate value and worth, your right to exist and thrive, and accept the love that created you as you in order to fulfill your divine destiny. This oracle brings you confirmation. You are on the right path. You do not need to collapse into fear or doubt to ease old guilt or make others more comfortable. It is not selfish or hard of you to be strong. You can hold yourself in high esteem and be gentle and loving to others while absolutely refusing to accept any behavior, belief, or attitude of another that would tear you down or cast you into doubt or self-hatred. As part of your spiritual training, your soul learned to be open, to receive guidance and channel healing. This is what you needed to be able to do to function as a healer, channel, and light worker. You had to be sensitive, receptive, and open. Now is the time to balance that with resilience, strength, and even some divine stubbornness. Refusing to give up on who you are while remaining open to guidance is the balance of loving wisdom necessary to grow yourself as a divinely unique individual in a world that often fears true individuality, simply because it cannot be easily controlled. Holding your center doesn't mean that you no longer surrender. Holding your center doesn't mean that you no longer surrender. Instead, you consciously choose to surrender into divine love and grow more empowered. You are here to shine a light, to be the lighthouse for others. The lighthouse doesn't ask for permission to shine. It stands still, shines faithfully, and those who need it are guided by its light to safety. Do not lose faith in yourself, beloved soul. You know who you are. Be strong. Honor your inner beauty and your personal boundaries. You need to feel safe in your ability to say no as much as you need to know that you will say yes when your heart guides you to do so. Be true to you. I love that. I hope you all got something meaningful out of this reading. It's a beautiful reading, and it is one that's asking you to follow your heart, Virgo, and to really be firm in it's true, firm in the confidence of who you are, where you're feeling called, and allowing the tower to come down in any aspect of your experience where you feel like you keep looking at that sunken ship and hoping it will rise. And realize there is so much more that's waiting to come in for you, and that's waiting to come in to honor your own creativity, what you can only give birth to in your experience or hold space for. All right, I will leave it there. I hope you all have a wonderful month ahead. If you'd like to book a personal reading, you can click on the link in the description box below to visit my website. Otherwise, I do release weekly collective and individual sign readings as well. So if you're interested in getting just a little something to focus on for the week ahead throughout the month, you can go ahead and subscribe to my channel, and you can see when those videos are posted each week. All right, Virgo, I look forward to reading for you next month. Bye.